let's put a hold on the Cavs-Celtics Eastern Conference Finals and let's get a Knicks-Pacers rematch from the second round last year because of the heroics of the Knicks. And welcome to the Knicks. After a year of trying to fit in, of missing a lot of shots, of being generally disappointing, welcome to the Knicks, Mikal Bridges. Welcome to the team. Welcome. Thank you. Let's just celebrate. You're at the party and not, focus on the fact you got here really, really late. But you're at the party. You are at the party.
Yeah, but he showed up fashionably late.
Yeah.
And with the best entrance.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
This is Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger tormenting all of the rich guests.
Yeah.
And then Bale shows up. It's like, oh, there you go. Got to enter with style. So, or Dumbledore leading.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When he does his little hand clap hanging out with the Phoenix.
When
come on.
Kingsley Shacklebolt says, you have to admit the man has style.
But that's where we're at. This is a guy you wanted excommunicated.
I said he's the guy. He's the guy that's going to get traded in the offseason so they can retool the roster, right? Because obviously having 5 great starters and no bench is not helping. 51 minutes played tonight for Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
He scored 8 points.
Yeah, he was 3 of 13.
However, he hits a 3 in the final minute to give the Knicks a 3-point lead. And then with the Knicks up 3 and 3 seconds left to go, the Celtics have the ball. Oh, my goodness, they're 14 for 57 from 3-point range. They need the 3. They get the ball to a guy they like taking this shot, except Mikal Bridges did a big Mutombo finger wag and said, not on my watch.
White has the ball, holds it high, throws it to Brown, left wing, stripped by Bridges, hangs onto it, took it away, throws it down court, and the New York Knicks stun the Celtics. 108-105 the final. The Knicks save their biggest comeback of the season for the biggest win of the year.
Knicks Radio Network on the call. This ain't your 0-10 against Thunder, Celtics, Cavaliers Knicks. This is your new Knicks. And you are right. You said this before the show, and I want to give you credit. I don't think we can call anything else a steal in the NBA anymore because what Mikal Bridges did to Jaylen Brown just walked up to him and took the ball from his hands before he could get a shot off. This wasn't, hey, the pass goes across the court and Brown's trying to get it and Bridges snatches it. He catches the ball. Bridges won't even let him go up, and he rips the ball out of his arms. He bullied him, and he punked him and said, this is my ball.
Give me that marble rye, you old bag.
I said that was, that's a New York play, right? That you talk about, hey, Knicks identity, that is a New York play right there. I'm just going to take the ball from you. Not bat it away, not grab it, not make a good, smart defensive play. I'm going to take the ball from you. I'm going to rip it from your arms. Like the Charlton Heston line. You can have my gun when you rip it from my cold, dead hands. You can have that ball. Oh, you just ripped it from my hands. Oh, you ripped it from my hands. Oh, what can I do?
So, Brown,
what can I do?
They do the cross-court pass. Brown comes down with it. But as he tries to collect, he's got to bring it down to his waist before he's going to try to go up to a shot where Bridges, the timing is he's just on him like a magnet and able to absolutely just rip the ball from his hands. And, so now it's steals and interceptions. So you tip a pass that's intercept. No, that's an interception. This was a steal.
That's a turnover. We'll say you got a turnover. You're plus one. You're plus one.
Yeah, you still get the turnover. But we're not calling, not all steals are created equal. This is snatching a man's soul at the end of a game.
Yeah. I'm going to get this shot off. Nope. Not going to let you.
In a game that was, at times, it's 108-105 in overtime. Great, we got to in the hundreds. It was very difficult to watch at times. Right?
It was.
Between the incessant three-point chucking by the Boston Celtics and your team's inability to hit a damn free throw. Like, on principle, you should lose when you miss 14 free throws.
Well, here's the thing. The Celtics were 15 for 60 from three-point range.
15 for 60.
The Knicks were also 15 for 60 from the free throw line. I bet you didn't know that.
Sounds about right.
You didn't know that.
No.
Exactly. That's why this game was so close.
Yeah, no, they were terrible.
Oh, man. But look, the story of this game, we'll get into the threes in a second. There's 2 big takeaways from this, right? Number one, I swear to you, when Brunson missed the shot at the end of regulation, the Knicks had a great play drawn up. The Knicks had the ball with 4 seconds left in regulation. Game was tied at 100. And they have a nice give-and-go play where Brunson inbounds to Karl Anthony Towns, and Brunson's got one of those little 2-step runners and that left-handed layup, and he banks it off the backboard. And as soon as he puts it up, I'm like, I said, game, and then rim, and out. And I said, Oh my goodness. And I had this thought, and his vision went through my head like, that's the series. Why do I have this horrible foreboding and suspicion that that's the series, and it's going to go down in Knicks lore as, here, look at this missed shot. What did this cost us? Because the Celtics went on to sweep us, and if maybe the series is different, but Brunson's, who's made that shot a million times before, I had this horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach. I said, that's going to be the series. Because the Celtics are going to hit a bunch of threes in overtime, and they're going to win this game. I had such a horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach.
Well, you vocalized it. You pounded the table that we were at, right? The counter in the kitchen, which I thought might have been taken off its foundation. So we might have to look at whether that's structurally sound. Also, you have Hulk hands then. Even though they're little tiny mitts, that should have caused some sort of irreparable damage with the force off of that miss. That's the series. That's going to do it.
I really thought it was. I really did. I said, that's the series. That's the series. How do I just know. Because I know it. I know that I'm like, that's the series. And I'm going to have to watch that replay a million times.
Especially once they added the extra half a second back on the clock.
Oh.
Right? Because the clock had gone down to 0.1 seconds. Like, all right, it's going over.
Yeah.
And they're like, 0.6.
Yeah.
You dirty, miserable.
Wait a minute. How do you put 0.6 back on the clock?
I really should have recorded the last hour. Like, we had 45 sound bites of you riding the lightning with you.
I didn't know, but apparently I didn't know I was that loud yelling. Like, we're in a soundproof door. Like, we're in a studio with a soundproof door. And Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington, do the show before, just said, we could hear you yelling exactly what you were saying through the door in the last 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt. Living and dying nationwide and globally with you on the iHeartRadio app with each possession. And, down the stretch, the inability of the Celtics to get the ball out of Brunson's hands.
Yeah.
I mean, that Bridges three-pointer was one of the most insane lack of arc. Like, I want to see the trajectory of that.
Welcome to the Mikal Bridges show.
I mean, I have
tickets for you up front.
That had, no arc whatsoever. Like, wow, that's a line drive.
It actually went in under the hoop and came out the other way.
Kind of looked that way, yeah. But, for the Celtics, question of Porzingis plays 13 minutes, leaves, illness, and the fact that they now have to, they're back to putting the non-COVID to it. I'm like, wait, we're putting that back on this instead of just.
Well, I think just to let everybody
out of that
know.
before?
Yeah, but I think still, because if that comes up suddenly, what's the protocol for the playoffs now? What's all of that? But here's the bigger part of this game is that this is where, and look, the Knicks, an incredible game. They were getting boat raced at halftime. They're able to withstand the hack of Mitchell Robinson in the first half, and the Celtics can't make any threes. But this is where the Celtics and Joe Mazzulla, they blew this game. And it's not just because they missed threes. But at some point, you have to realize, even if it's just for a little bit, hey, the threes aren't going for us tonight. Okay? And the Knicks are still defending out at the arc because they know you want to take threes.
But that's the thing. They did a good job. Even Karl Anthony Towns was moving his feet.
Yes, they were all yes. Well, he had no choice. The game he had tonight, he had to move his feet.
But I'm just saying, defensively, that's been something we've talked about all year long. He's a bit slow at getting to the rotation. Tonight, he gave you max effort.
But this is where this is Joe Mazzulla's fault, and it's the Celtics' fault because they just continued to do the same thing. It's like they got hooked into a, well, we love taking threes anyway. We're just going to keep taking them. They're not going. You're getting to the hoop. The Celtics were shooting 55% from everything inside the arc. And I'm not saying you have to go away from taking threes, but at least for a few minutes, this is where Joe Mazzulla calls a timeout, dials up some stuff saying, let's get to the hoop, right? Let's get some confidence back and let's get to the hoop. Because the Celtics were completely discombobulated at the end of regulation and overtime. They couldn't hit anything. They were settling for threes. They didn't try to get the ball underneath. And it's one of those games where you want to say snap out of it, right? Where you're yelling at the teller, snap. What are you guys doing? But it's like they can't. They have no will of their own. It's just we're going to keep taking threes. We're going to keep doing this. And they kept settling for threes. And when they were down 3 with 16 seconds left, I said, okay, they're going to go and get a quick 2, force the Knicks to make free throws, come back. They're going to extend the game. And instead, they decide, we're going to take it all the way down and take a 3. Okay. I was like, hey, that's great. The best thing you can do is tie the game. Yep. And they wound up taking a bad 3 with a couple of seconds left that luckily the foul was on the floor because that's how the Celtics got to inbound the ball with 3 seconds left is that Karl Anthony Towns' call for foul on the floor inbounded to Jaylen Brown. But I'm like, at that point, the Celtics were panicked. Let that shot go. That's a 30-footer that he's pump faking up with because there's no time left on the clock. Let him take that shot. The Celtics just killed themselves this game with the refusal to do anything different. And that's on where Missoula's got to say, hey, guys, okay, let's get you to the hoop. Let's do this. And I know no Porzingis and that, but you know what? This is how it goes. But the Celtics are a terrific team, right? They needed some time to get back, get some confidence because they lost it instead of just going through the motions at the end of regulation overtime, and that's what cost them the game. I mean, the Knicks didn't move the ball that great either, but they had a guy making shots, and Jalen Brunson and Bridges hits that. Nobody was hitting that for the Celtics, but yet they still decided we're stubborn, and we're going to keep taking these threes, and we played right into the Knicks' hand. Yes, the Knicks won this game, but it's more the Celtics, and as a Knicks fan, I'm telling you, the Celtics lost it for those, not just because they couldn't make threes, but because they couldn't decide to not take as many threes and do something else with the ball. Cut the lead to 4, cut the lead to 2, cut the lead to 1. You're inside. Karl Anthony Towns is having a horrendous game. You're getting to the hoop. They're putting you on the free throw line all the time, and the Celtics still didn't do it. They lost this way more than the Knicks won.
You're up 16.5. You now have another thing in common with the Lakers, not just, hey, you're fighting for who's got the most banners hung. You also can't score in the fourth quarter. Just like the Lakers. Just like the Lakers did. 16 points in the fourth quarter. And again, you've got 19 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
Right? You're controlling the glass. You're getting second chances. But instead of going back up with the ball, what are you doing? You're kicking it back out.
Take another three. Let's take another three.
And like you said, Knicks are rotating and contesting the threes, and it's not falling. Space the floor. Man, 16 points goes away in a heartbeat. We've watched this time and again, these playoffs, and certainly throughout the regular season, right? It's a different stage with the three-point play and three-point shot being as prevalent as it is. And I know that's been their hallmark all season long, right? We've talked about the Celtics and the ridiculous number of threes over the course of the season. When they work, sure, you're going to blow teams out. But otherwise, you've got to adjust. You've got struggling offensive players for the Knicks. You've got guys that aren't hitting foul shots, so you've got that in your back pocket for foul takes and other things in different sequences as we're watching. We're not going to belabor it going through the play-by-play, but it just becomes how do you not adjust in the fourth?
No.
Recognizing that shot's not suddenly going to start falling. It's like, well, the law of averages said, like, no, you're shooting terribly. Recognize you have this game that you can still steal and come back and take it. Instead, the Knicks escape with a win, and the series completely changes.
Woo! The Eastern Conference playoffs has completely changed. Look.
Well, between yesterday and today, yeah, we've got some chaos.